Yo, what's the dealio, man? Listen, you already know I got a straight banger for you today. All right. So in this video, I want to talk about how can you tell if something is bullish or if it's bearish. Okay. I got this question last week a couple of times actually. So I said, let me make a video so that everybody could benefit from this question because it is a valid question. Sometimes we may not fully know what we're looking at. Sometimes we could get faked out, stuff like that. All right. So when we're thinking about bullish and bearish, we're going to start from the top down, or we're going to break it down. Okay. So first things first, before we get into it, we need to understand bullish means it's going up and green, right? Bearish means it's going down, okay? Red. Bullish equals calls, bearish equals puts, okay? Now, the next thing you need to really ask yourself is, what is my outlook to know if this thing is bullish or bearish, if this stock is bullish or bearish, okay? Now, we have the monthly time frame, the yearly time frame, the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, the 4-hour time frame, the 1-hour time frame, the 30-minute time frame, the 15-minute time frame, the 5-minute time frame, right? So before you even ask yourself, is this bullish or bearish, you need to ask yourself, what is my outlook? Because something can be bullish on the weekly time frame, but bearish on the 30-minute time frame, right? Something could be bullish on the 30-minute time frame, but bearish on the weekly time frame, okay? And we're gonna go to the charts and I'm gonna give you guys some examples as well. But I need to break this stuff down piece by piece so that you have a full understanding on this concept. So now that we understand what our outlook is, I can't answer that for you, right? But if you are asking yourself, is this bullish or bearish? First things first, you need to ask yourself, what is the outlook? What is the time frame that I'm trying to analyze this stock on? Am I looking at it over the next 2 months? Maybe I need to look at the monthly and a weekly time frame and a daily time frame, right? Am I looking at this for a quick day trade, right? Okay, the 15, the 30-minute time frame and maybe the hourly time frame, right? So we got to really ask ourselves, what is our outlook before we can determine if something is bullish or bearish? Okay, so first thing is, what's your outlook? What's your outlook? Okay, monthly outlook, yearly outlook, whatever. The next thing is, now that we understand that, you need to ask yourself, okay, what is the charts telling me? This is technical analysis, okay? And then we're going to separate two things. You have bullish patterns, and then you have bullish candlesticks. And you have bearish patterns, and you have bearish candlesticks, okay? So let's go to the iPad and let's really break this stuff down so that way you can have a full clarity on this, okay? So we got the iPad right here, okay? Now, let's focus on bullish first, okay? So we have bullish, right? So we have patterns and we have candlesticks. Okay? Now, when you have a bullish pattern, you also have a bearish pattern, the same thing. It looks the exact same way, just in the opposite direction, okay? So we have bullish patterns first, okay? So we're gonna go with patterns. Okay. So the first one is going to be one of my favorites, is a bull flag. So if you see a pattern that is a bull flag, then you know that this stock is bullish. It could be on a 30-minute, it could be on a daily time frame. You know that this is going up. So a bull flag pattern looks like a whole bunch of candlesticks, maybe a candlestick like this, and then you got candlesticks like this, right? And so it's a move to the upside, and then it consolidates like this, okay? That means it's getting ready to go higher. That is a bull flag, okay? That's a pattern. It is a culmination of candlesticks forming into a pattern. That's a bull flag, okay? The next one is going to be a inverted head and shoulders. Basically, you have a peak at the bottom, okay? Then you have shoulders right here, okay? And this is where it came from. And then it's getting ready to go higher. All right? So if you see a peak right here, this is the head. These are the shoulders, right? So head, shoulders right here. This is like the neckline. If it gets past right here, then it's going to go higher, okay? That is a bullish pattern. Daily time frame, 30-minute time frame, doesn't matter the time frame, this is a pattern. Okay? Next, we have a double bottom. Okay? Double bottom. Some call it a W. Right? You have a bottom here, and then you have a bottom here. All right? It came down, came up, and then it came right back down to the same support level here, and it's getting ready to go blast off to the upside. All right? This right here, the middle where it came back to, that would be considered the neckline. Some say enter in at the neckline and then take it higher. Some enter when it makes the bottom here. They enter there, ride it to the neckline. If it breaks the neckline, then they go higher. So if you see a pattern like this, that is a bullish pattern, okay? And I'm going to give you guys one more. I'm going to give you guys a falling wedge. What is a falling wedge? A stock is in a downtrend, okay? Right? A downtrend. But then it starts coming and forming, like squeezing, okay? And it starts to form a wedge, right? So it's coming down, but it's forming a small wedge. Once it breaks out of this wedge right here, it usually ends up going crazy to the upside, right? That is a falling wedge. So this would be another bullish pattern, okay? Once again, a culmination of candlesticks, but this is a bullish pattern. Okay, so these are bullish patterns. We have a bull flag, then we have an inverted head and shoulders, then we have a double bottom, and then we have a falling wedge. Okay, so those are all bullish patterns. Now let me show you the contrast. Let's go to the contrast. Bearish patterns, and then we'll go to bullish and bearish candlesticks. Okay. Now we have something called a bear flag. Same exact thing. A move to the downside, and then it consolidates, and then it goes lower. Okay. That is a bear flag. So the same way a bull flag goes up, a strong move to the upside, then it goes up and down, and then it goes higher. Same thing, it strong move to the downside, consolidation, and then it goes lower. That is a bear flag. The next one is a head and shoulders. You have the head right here, Then you have the shoulders right here. Okay. And then it came from here, and then it comes down. All right. That is a head and shoulders. So if you see this pattern, then you know that it's going to be coming down. All right. The next one is a double top. All I'm doing is showing you the inverse of the bullish. Okay. So a double top is the opposite of a double bottom. Okay. So a double bottom, it looks like a W. A double top looks like an M. So a double top is this right here. We have a top here. We have a top here. It came up, came back down right here. This is called the neckline. Okay. This is the neckline. It came back up and it rejected at the same area of where the other height was at. And then look what happened. It comes down here. All right. That is a double top. That is another bearish pattern. Not candlestick, but a pattern. Okay? And then the next one, we have a rising wedge. What is a rising wedge? You have an uptrend, right? And then it starts to form what? Another wedge, right? And once it breaks below here, it ends up falling. Okay? This is a rising wedge. So you have a falling wedge and then you have a rising wedge, right? You have a double bottom, then you have a double top. You have an inverted head and shoulders, then you have a head and shoulders. You have a bull flag and you have a bear flag, okay? So these are patterns. So if you see these patterns on any of these time frames, then you'll know if something is bullish or bearish. Okay? So that's first thing right there. Bullish or bearish patterns. Okay? The next thing that we're going to go over and break down is candlesticks. Okay? Candlesticks. Now with candlesticks is very important. Patterns have a whole bunch of candlesticks inside of them, right? Patterns have a whole bunch of candlesticks inside of them. So I want you guys to understand that you can see a pattern, and that pattern is made up of a whole bunch of candlesticks. You have bullish and you have bearish candlesticks. All right. So I'm just trying to erase this real quick. All right. Erase this. And then we're going to go to candlesticks. All right. So now we have candlesticks. All right. Now, you have a bullish and you have a bearish candlestick. So when we look at candlesticks, just because it's red doesn't mean it's bearish. Just because it's green doesn't mean it's bullish. So when you're looking at candlesticks, I want you guys to understand you have the body of the candlestick. All right, this is the body. Then you have the shadows. Okay. This right here, if this is a green candlestick, matter of fact, let me color it real quick. Okay. Let's say this is a green candlestick. All right. We got this right here. All right. And then we have a red candlestick. All right. So for the candlesticks, if this is a green candlestick, that means that the stock is coming up. If it's a red candlestick, that means the stock is coming down. Now, this right here, this rectangle, is the body, and same on the red side. This is the body. Now, because on the green candlestick, that represents that the stock price has increased in price, that means that at the bottom of right here, okay, at the beginning of the body of the candle, that is the open of the candle. And then right here, where the candlestick, the top closes, the body is finished, that is the close. And then this right here, this is the high of the candle's activity for that session. And then right here is the low of that candle's activity of that session. Same thing right here. Now with the red candle, it's flipped because it's going down. So right here, this is the open and this is the close. Okay? Now, this is the high and this is the low. All right? So, when it's going up and it's a green candlestick, it opens here and it'll close higher, and that's what makes it a green candlestick. That's what makes it a bullish candlestick. But also what makes it a bullish candlestick is how much buying pressure that candlestick had during that session. What makes it a bearish candlestick is how much pressure, selling pressure, that candlestick had during that session as well. Right? So this is how you analyze a candlestick, right? Now these skinny lines right here, they're called wicks. What they represent is buying pressure and selling pressure. So if we have a candle and it has a big wick like this and it has a big wick like this, this is what it's going to represent. Right here, we have buyers, or you can say buying pressure, okay? And then right here, we have sellers or selling pressure, all right? So if you see a candlestick and it doesn't have, if you see a candlestick that looks like this, there are no buyers here, okay? There are no buyers, right? There's all sellers because the sellers are pushing the stock down, right? The sellers are pushing the stock down. So buyers tried to, sellers were so strong, they pushed the stock down. Now sellers are pushing the stock down. Therefore, this represents selling pressure, which means that this is more bearish than it is bullish, right? Very important. Now let's say that we have another candlestick that looks like this, right? It looks like this. Sorry. We have a candlestick and it looks like this, okay? What this is going to represent is going to be buyers. All right? This is buyers. So buyers are pushing the stock up during this session. When I say session, I mean if this is on the 15-minute time frame, for 15 minutes, buyers push the stock up, right? If it's on the daily time frame, for the whole day, buyers push this stock up right here, right? So this is how you understand bullish and bearish candlesticks. When it's a bullish candlestick, it's going to open here and it's going to close higher. When it's a bearish candlestick, it's going to open here and close lower, right? The wicks represent pressure from the upside, which is sellers trying to push the stock down, or from the downside and buyers trying to push the stock up. Okay? So this is what the wicks mean. This is what the bodies mean. And this is how you can understand if a stock is bullish and bearish. Now, like I said, you also have patterns. There's a whole bunch of candlesticks within one pattern. So you're going to have bullish and bearish candlesticks that make up a whole pattern. And it's up to you to be able to recognize the pattern or sit here and understand what's going on with the stock, the pattern, the direction of the stock, right? Is it at support? Is it at resistance, right? That's another thing that you have to think about and you have to ask yourself as well. But I wanted to focus on candlesticks and chart patterns and how to know if a stock is going up or if it's going down. Now, let's say that a stock, a candlestick looks like this, right? But it's red, okay? Now, just because the candlestick is red does not mean that it is bearish, right? Why is that? Because this candlestick right here could mean that it's bullish because buyers still pushed it up, because this wick right here does represent buyers, right? And that means that the stock could go up. So just because the candlestick is red does not mean that the stock is going down. You want to learn how to assess and analyze the candlesticks for what they mean and what they represent. Okay? This is called reading price action. So when you're looking at the charts, you want to pay attention to the buying pressure and the selling pressure of each candlestick per session. Okay? So this is how you understand if something is going to the upside or if it's going to the downside, if a stock is bullish or if it's bearish. This is how you find reversals to the upside and to the downside as well. Okay? So I hope that made sense for you guys. All right? Be sure to go on the charts and take this information and execute on it and go make some money. All right? Like I always say, make sure you get up out your head, go get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right? And also remember, the more you study, the less you worry. All right? I appreciate you guys' time. You guys have a great day, and I'm going to see you guys on tomorrow's video. Stay smooth. Peace.